him, the shaft is laying down a little bit rather than pointing inside that ball line, coming down steep and then hitting quite abruptly into the ground. Hi everyone, my name's Jay Kelly and welcome back to my channel. I'm here at my home club, West Kent Golf Club, where today I'm going to show you how I helped an online student change his low point control. So where his club actually entered the ground and how we actually helped him move that low point further forward to help him have a ball first contact and really have those crispy strikes. So let's get into it. So I have an online student who is determined to shallow the golf club. So meaning that when he starts to make a downswing, his club travels a little bit more from behind him rather than out in front of him. The shaft is laying down a little bit rather than pointing inside that ball line, coming down steep and then hitting quite abruptly into the ground. And in an effort to change that, his body has ended up adapting into the downswing. So into the downswing, he has ended up tilting his body excessively to the right, which as you can see does put the club a little bit more shallow and behind me. But in an effort to do that, he's actually begun to tilt his upper torso to the right, and now his club enters the ground pretty early on. Whereas we still need to maintain some inclination before we have side bend. Yes, we need to have side bend through the ball where our body is tilted slightly to the right and our hips are leading, but that has to happen in good time. So for me, how I like to see that is as a player works to the top of their swing, you'll notice my left shoulder is lower than my right, and I would like to keep that left shoulder lower than the right for a little bit longer. Now, as I do this and I start to shift forward, you can see that my upper body starts to move fractionally forward. My weight gets into my lead side, and then I can begin to level out my shoulders. Whereas this student would go to the top and he would immediately, and not knowingly, just his way of shallowing out the golf club was to work to the top and then lift this left shoulder up high. He would then begin to tilt his body to the right, and all of a sudden that made him tilt so much that two things happened. Firstly, the club became almost too far from the inside, and secondly, he actually started to hit the ground too early, and to be honest, some of his shots nearly missed the golf ball. So from here, he'd go to the top, tilt his shoulders, and as he come down into impact, I could see his club was bottoming out early, shoulders angled quite high in the air and to the right. Now, he was getting away with that with driver a little bit because it was actually pegged up, but with an iron off the floor, we're really looking to make that ball first contact. So from here, face on, what we're really looking for is our club to come down, hit down on the ball, collect the ball, and then start making its divot after the golf ball. And that is low point control, and that is how we start to measure that. And if I have my TrackMan with me or launch monitors, we could start to measure how many inches, normally measured in inches, after the golf ball the club is at its deepest point. So very simply, I wanted this student to understand a little bit more about how the upper body worked. So again, I did give him that drill of go to the top with a club across your shoulder and just feel like until this club gets to my left shoe, that it starts to stay low. Okay, it starts to move a little bit forward and low to my left shoe, and then it can begin to open. And what I mean by open is point more to the left. So again, from this angle, I'm going to work to the top. I'm going to make sure that my club across my shoulder is pointing somewhat at the ball. Then I'm going to shift and keep that inclination and keep that pointing in that direction until I get to my left shoe, in my eye line, of course. And then I'm going to begin to open my shoulders, start twisting my shoulders more to the left so they open up. Now that would be a point in the swing that is about halfway down, where everything starts to get a little bit more in line. And then from there, continually rotate onto my left side and produce a pretty good impact. Now, another piece of confusion is how much my shoulders should be open at impact. And after working with some of the 3D technology for an iron, we're only really looking for about 20 to 30 degrees open. It's not actually that much. We're not looking to go to the top and fire everything open really early, because you can see what happens there. There still has to be this element of staying closed for a second and then rotating a little bit open. And that's what really helped my student actually start working his club more forward, because as I add rotation, I can show you this from here. If I actually have my club here and I just solely pivot, you can see how my handle, I'm not moving it forward at all, but my handle naturally moves more forward over my left shoe just by rotating, so I don't need to force it forward or anything like that. But this student had quite a lot of tips, so the handle didn't actually move forward at all. So again, just feeling like he stays a little bit lower and then rotates. He's now on top of the ball, making a nice ball first contact and still hitting those little draws without sacrificing that shape. So I hope that helps, and I'll see you soon. So I hope that video helped into a little bit of the sequencing, a little bit more about how I like to see the shoulders and chest work. There has to still be an element of side bend in there, but again, if we go to the top and we side bend too early, or we start sacrificing rotation and solely tipping our body back, we're really going to struggle with our low point and swing direction. So there has to still be that element of tilt as I begin to rotate. There's a lot of other things that go into shallowing out the golf club. And also remember, we don't necessarily want the club super duper shallow. So I hope that helps. And if it does, please subscribe to my channel and give this video a like, and I look forward to seeing you all soon.